welcome to all of you. I'm so glad all of you were able to attend tonight to Barriers to Healthy Eating in Vulnerable Populations. And this presentation is made possible by the Student Dietetic Association, as well as Associated Students Incorporated of Cal State LA, and by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And just as a little review before we get into our speakers' talks that have to do with food insecurity and food security, I want to just give you a little reminder of what food security is. And I think most of you are aware of the 1996 World Food Summit, saying that it is a situation in which all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. And it's important to remember each of these. Sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. And then also added by the USDA, as well as the immediate availability to adequate and safe food acquired by socially acceptable ways. And I think the socially acceptable ways is a very important thing to remember when we're talking about food insecurity. Food insecurity, also known as hunger, of course now we refer to it as food insecurity, in the nation, California, and in the Los Angeles area, we know has risen in just unprecedented degrees in the last few years because of the recession that we're in. So if we look back to some of the 2010 data, we see that about 14.5% of our nation's households are or were in 2010 food insecure. That's 1 out of 7 individuals, so 1 out of every 7 people in the nation. That's huge. But then when we look at households with children reporting food insecurity, it's a significantly higher rate. Now we're saying that it's about 1 out of every 5 individuals. I mean, we hear these figures, but if you actually start to think about 20% of individuals in families in the United States are food insecure. Undoubtedly, it's going to be much higher in 2012 already. The LA Regional Food Bank reports that the food pantry services increased by 73%, beginning with the recession. I'm sure that figure is much higher now. So what's the goal of this meeting? I'm getting together quite a few agencies, and if you look at the back of your program, you'll see the many programs and agencies that are represented here tonight. And we have a lot of students who are here. We have students in nutritional science, we have some nursing students, we have, I think, a student from Santa Monica City College, and we have both undergraduate and graduate students here. The goal of tonight's meeting is to share information about resources available to underserved, which basically are low socioeconomic and most often also food insecure populations, and to answer any questions that you may have regarding making these resources available. So that's really our goal tonight with each of the speakers, is to give you the resources to work with underserved populations so that then you can turn around and share those resources with your clients, with the people in your community. So the program tonight, first of all, Erica Martinez is going to be giving us an overview of the resources available for low-income people in Los Angeles County. And Erica represents the LA Collaborative. She's the coordinator. And if some of you aren't on her email or a member of the LA Collaborative, you're going to want to find out how you can join it, because LA Collaborative is just a wealth of information. And then following Erica, our very own students here from Cal State LA, who have put together some research. And that group is Heather McCarthy, Elliot Cho, Jen Jackson, Cesar Salza, and Laura Martinez. They're my USDA grant team. They're going to present to you what they found out about barriers to CalFresh. Is it too loud? Oh, okay. And following the students, then we have Yolanda Anguiano from California Food Policy Advocates. And she's going to be talking a little bit about understanding CalFresh and explaining to you a little bit about how that program works. And following Yolanda, we have Lena Rios, who is the director of LA County CalFresh DPSS. And he'll be able to tell you anything that you ever wanted to know about CalFresh, because he's definitely the expert. So he'll clarify any misconceptions about CalFresh. And talking about misconceptions about CalFresh, in the folder that you have, pocket folder that's in front of you, my community nutrition students put together a couple handouts. And one of the handouts has to do with myths about SNAP and CalFresh. So you're going to want to take a look at that. Some other students put together resources. So hopefully this is going to sort of dovetail right along with what Erica tells you. And there's a whole list of resources that are available for you. In addition, Lino has brought quite a few resources that are on that back table. So as you leave today, be sure to pick up a copy of those resources as well. And then last, we have Frank Tamburello, who is the director of Hunger Action Los Angeles, and he's going to be talking about the Market Match program. Following that, we're going to have a Q&A with our panel. So our USDA grant team and the speakers will be up front, and all of you then will be able to ask questions. So I'd now like to introduce Erica Martinez from the LA Collaborative.
Hi everyone. My name is Erica Martinez. I am the coordinator for the Los Angeles Collaborative for Healthy Active Children. How many of you have heard of our program before? All right, good chunk of you. How many of you guys are receiving our emails? Ooh, there should be more of you. You can email me at ermartinez@ph.lacounty.gov, and you're going to be able to get information from me later on as well. I don't think my contact information is in here per se, but you have a disc in your folder that's going to go through everything that I'm going to go through in the next 25 minutes. I have to shove this 45-minute presentation into this 20-minute slot. So I'm going to kind of go fast, and if you have any questions, please hold them until the end or during our speakers panel question and answer period, and I'm happy to go over that with you. So let's speed on through accessing resources for healthy food in LA County. What you see here is all the organizations and agencies that help put this whole presentation together. And what's really important about pointing that out is that, you know, we have so many resources here in LA County, and there's a lot of things that people don't know about accessing fresh foods for our most vulnerable population. So these are all really great agencies, and we're going to go through them and the resources that they have available at their disposal. FACT is a subcommittee of the LA Collaborative, and again, all those agencies you just saw on the last slide are who is in FACT. So if you guys need some connections to those people that you saw on there, let me know and I'll hook you up. But basically, it's a multi-agency partnership that really looks at improving food access and food security here in LA County for our most vulnerable populations. What is LA Collaborative? A good chunk of you already know, but we are a agency or a collaborative of about 100 or so different agencies, and I want to say about 500 or so partners that really are looking at decreasing the burden of obesity here in LA County. And the way we do that is through making sure that children are physically active, they have safe places to play, that they have communities where policies are in place where those things can actually safely happen. And you can find out more about us at www.lacollaborative.org. And for those of you who want a networking opportunity, we're going to have a meeting coming up very soon, in about 3 or so weeks. May 30th is going to be at the California Endowment, and you're all welcome to come. There's maybe about 20 spots left, so hurry on to the LA Collaborative website and register so that you can go and see and meet other professionals in food access and the nutrition field. So now for the nitty-gritty part of my presentation. These are just demographics of LA County. We have over 9 million people here, and 2 million of those are, or a little bit over 2 million, are children. And you know, about a fourth of them are living in poverty right now. So you know, this is not okay. We need to make these numbers better. And that means, you know, that we have a lot of hunger in our families and a lot of hunger in the populations that we serve. So just something to note while we're moving forward. And, you know, Lauren already went through this, but food insecurity is really the absence of having that access to fresh food. So you guys can read this for yourself, and again, you'll have this available for you in your discs later on. So this is one program that LA Collaborative is happy to offer for populations and for any caseworkers, et cetera, out in the field. It's a program called Eating Right When Money's Tight. On the left hand, or right hand for you guys, you'll see a food package with a lot of processed, you know, ready to eat kind of foods. And on the left side, you'll see a lot more fresh foods, you know, things that you can actually make at home instead of just kind of popping in the oven. And what this does to show families is that bag one is going to be almost, oh, you can't really see on this slide. But basically, it's the same price, but on bag number two, you're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to be able to access a lot more fresh foods and have foods that you can actually feel secure and happy feeding your family, as opposed to just like a can of chili or whatever. You get more, your dollar goes farther, and just because you're on a limited budget doesn't mean that you can't eat well. And this is actually pretty important for students too, because I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty poor when I was a student. It wasn't fun to be eating canned beans every day. And again, you know, these are the things you can make from those, from the stuff that's in those bags. And sorry about the weird setting here, but basically all these presentations are available on www.lacollaborative.org, and it's going to be in your disc as well in the little yellow sleeve you got in your folder. So we're going to go through some resources very quickly. The first one I'd like to point out is the USDA resource. How many of you are familiar with the MyPlate? I see every hand in this room up, because I know you guys are looking at that. So, you know, this was just introduced last year, and it really is a great guide to show families what should be on their plate. The USDA offers a lot of really great resources for you to access, English and Spanish. Lots of videos, all sorts of fun, like social media things attached to MyPlate as well. So in the future, when you're working with populations, it's always great to drive your clients and participants to this site, because it's just really easy, it's consumer friendly, it's easy to follow. So. Again, here are some USDA resources. You can, again, access these for free and also on your disc. There's food tips, there's recipes, all sorts of fun stuff. One great thing that the LA Regional Food Bank offers is a local pantry locator. So if you have populations that are looking for you know, access to food cupboards, food pantries, etc., this is a great tool to use, because it not only has the most recent, the most updated information, but the most local information as well. So all you have to do is go to the website, which is right there, type in your zip code, and it'll tell you exactly where is the closest place for you to go to access that food. Another really great program that we have is the Summer Food Service Program. Again, we have a lot of hungry kids here in LA County, and sometimes the meal that they get at school, either breakfast or lunch, is all they're going to have. So it's really important during the summer to be able to make sure that those children are going to be fed as well, and that's what the Summer Feeding Program does. You can find these programs at Boys and Girls Clubs, Salvation Army, YMCA's, Parks and Recs. They're all different locations, and you're going to be able to find that at 211 LA. Who here has used 211 LA before? Guys, it's a great resource. If you ever have a question about how do I find WIC offices, where is a local food pantry, when is Caltrans going to finish with these cones on the side of my road, you can call 211 and they'll tell you, because there's a live person there, and you know it's just such a novelty in our day and age, because we're always getting automated, or you go online and there's not even a person there, just email. But this is an actual real person answering your questions. So 211, all the questions that you have, call them. And again, here's just a list of what you can access there, and this is not exhaustive, there's more stuff there. There's also 211la.org. 211 is also available in Orange County. I know this because one time I was like, why isn't the beach open? I had to call 211, and they were like, okay, we're going to tell you what's going on, there's a lot of traffic, that's why you can't move anywhere. So this is a really great resource. Again, call it, live person. And these are other free food options. You know, again, school breakfast and lunch. You guys all know about the reduced and free lunch programs. Lots of nods, awesome. It's a great program for our kids, and it really makes sure that children who usually, or who may not have the option of having breakfast or lunch at home are going to be able to get access to that at school. So they can learn better, so we can make sure we have, a great future for our kids. And again, childcare, adult facilities, summer lunch programs, all these really, really great social programs that we have where we can actually feed people and have access to nutritious foods. Let's go over WIC really quickly, because WIC is extremely comprehensive and they have a really great food program. It's open for women, infants, children, that's what WIC stands for. You don't have to actually have children. You could be pregnant and about to have a child. You also still qualify. Your children will qualify up until their 5th birthday. And we have so many really great partners at WIC. Again, you are going to be able to access all this information on your disc, so we'll move on forward. And one really great thing that WIC did was that they changed their entire food package in order to really reflect the science of having healthy, nutritious food for those growing children. So this is the old package, lots of eggs, lots of milk, lots of cheese, juice. And this is the new package. Look at all that green. It's yummy, right? So, it took, I want to say like 20, 30 years to change this program. So, it might be a slow process, but they did it and it's an amazing thing. And WIC is great because they also have a lot of education for their young mothers. They'll have, they'll tell their young mothers how to actually, utilize these foods, and it's just a really great program. And where is WIC located? You can call toll-free, or you can, drive your clients, your participants to this number as well. And anybody can call and say, where's the closest WIC clinic? There you go. Fresh Food Access Guide. You actually have a digital copy of this on your disc. Really quickly, it's available through UEPI, the Urban and Environmental Policy Institute at Occidental College. If you want a hard copy, email schaefer@oxy.edu or call her. And you can also download the PDF if you don't want to just access it on your disc. You can download it for free whenever. And it's a really great guide because it has a really comprehensive list of all the foods here in LA County. People's Guide was actually just updated for 2012. It should be out in the next couple of days. Yeah. So Frank, our friend, you'll hear him in a little bit, but he was instrumental in getting this updated, and it's available in English and Spanish. The website is down there, and it's also available on your disc in your package as well. And it's really great because it really gives a comprehensive idea of what people's rights are. Can I get kicked out of this clinic because of XYZ? Do I have rights to be able to access general relief? Lots of different rights questions and advocacy questions that are really important for most vulnerable populations. Another great resource is UCCE, the University of California Cooperative Extension. It's a mouthful. They have great nutrition education workshops available for participants and clients, and they'll go for free to go teach your clients and figure out, how do I use healthy foods? What do I need to do? What is a healthy food, etc. And again, they do the whole eating right when money's tight kind of program. I think they actually use our program. So they go out and do these great educational materials for our populations out there. Again, you already have this on your disc, but if you need to contact somebody to be able to offer these classes to your participants, Brenda her name's actually Brenda Roche-Wolford. She just got married, but her email is still her maiden name. So you can email her and figure out what exactly it is that you'd like for your class or whatever, and she'll meet your needs. And again, here's some more information about curriculum offered, etc. from UCCE. Head Start, what an awesome program. It is comprehensive. It's not just about preschool. It's also mental health. It's also community and family partners. It's also making sure that children with disabilities have access to any sort of services that they need. So they're really great. They, I just said this is what they do. And here are some resources that you can access as well, again, on your disc, but if you want to visit now, prekkid.org. Dairy Council, and this is almost the end of my presentation. I think I've been able to squeeze it all in. Dairy Council is another great resource where you can access books and recipes and all sorts of things. And again, it's kind of funky here, but it's on your disc. You'll be able to access all these things no cost. And they're just really great resources that you can share with anybody and anybody that you know. And look how lovely that is, all those colors. And this is kind of funky, I don't know where that's from. But anyways, I'm here representing Nikki from CFPA, the California Food Policy Advocates. Nikki's an awesome resource. If you ever need any information about CalFresh or food access or food advocacy or anything that has to do with advocacy and food, call Nikki. She's a great advocate. You can email me. My name's Erica. I'm the coordinator of the LA Collaborative, martinez@ph.lacounty.gov, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have later on. And this presentation, again, in your disc, it's also available at this website and the lacollaborative.org website as well.
Thank you very much, Erica. That was really a lot of information in a short amount of time. And next, we have our student research presentation, and they're going to be talking about barriers to CalFresh. So if you'd like to come on up here. And I will introduce Heather McCarthy, who's going to start out, and then each of you can introduce the next.
Hi, I'm Heather. How's everyone doing? Good. Okay. So I don't want anyone from social services or Erica Martinez to answer this question, but or Frank Tamburello. No. Okay. How many people here have heard of SNAP? Know what SNAP is? Could tell me what it is in description.
You're all my community nutrition students.
Oh, okay. Not community nutrition students either, but okay, really, show of hands. Who can? So, how many people know what CalFresh is? So, how many people know that CalFresh and SNAP are part of the same thing? And would you know how to apply? Who knows how to apply? Okay, tell me how you would apply.
Go to the website.
You would go to their website. Okay, what if you didn't have that option? What would you do? Anybody know?
Make a call.
So the reason I ask this question is because we sit here in a university setting, and just as Dr. Caldron just said, many of you are community nutrition students, and we're not really even 100% sure of how we would apply for these benefits or what these benefits are. And what we're finding through the research that we've done is that this widespread issue is really the biggest problem with food insecurity in this country. And it's really unfortunate because the money is there, and the money is there to be used, and there are people that are hungry, there are people that are starving. Right next to us that we wouldn't even know. And they don't really know how to access this information or these benefits. And I'll tell you, the research really came together in a way that was uncanny. We were sent as part of this grant team to a conference in San Antonio, Texas. And we had this idea. I don't know if it was a few weeks or a few months before, like, oh, we should look into CalFresh barriers. So we go to this conference and we're so overwhelmed because there's like every federal agency, in the U.S. is at this conference, and they're all, shoving their business cards at us and telling them how we can come work for them, and we're all like super hyper, and I get literally thrown in front of this woman because everyone's like, go talk to her. And I'm like, oh, hi, okay, I just got told I should talk to you. Well, her name was Lisa Pino, and she turns out to be the head of the SNAP program in Washington, D.C. And this is we have been talking about doing CalFresh research. So I didn't even, in my head at that moment, so overwhelmed by what was going on, I didn't connect that these two things were the same. So I totally froze on the spot, and she's just like writing down, we really need this research. Is this something that you guys think that you could look into? And I went back to, my friends here and I was like, I just met this woman and I don't know, I think this is, a road we need to look at, and it was just so overwhelming and so exciting. But we wound up making this really great connection. And through that, kind of continued on this journey with the regional representatives from the USDA, from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is what SNAP stands for. And it's really turned into this amazing research project that I feel really privileged to have been a part of. And the purpose of the survey, where's the clicker? I have a clicker, okay.
You have to go the other
Oh.
way. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh, it was right.
Yeah, oh, well.
It was a.
Okay. There we go, okay. So the purpose of the survey is to understand why, exactly what I've been talking about and what I asked you here. The SNAP CalFresh program is underutilized in Los Angeles County. Now this, like I said, we're using Los Angeles here as the pilot study, but this is a widespread problem throughout this country. It's just unfortunate that here, in an urban area, this issue is really deep. And it's, really important for us to continue to investigate, as it says, the many barriers that that exist for CalFresh participation, and that must be addressed by nutrition professionals and community organizations. And I've had the privilege to be a part of one of these in Riverside County that has actually had a lot of success with increasing their participation rates, where they just invited the community to come and talk to some people that had come in from Washington, just about what the problem was. So we want to be able to share that information, both perceived and actual barriers, because that is really the biggest issue. And nationally, SNAP participation rates 72%. So that means that 28% of people that could be getting access to these services aren't. And I mean, I know I'm in the coordinated dietetics program right now, and I did my rotation at a school, and they were telling me, there's so many kids that one meal they get, that's nutritious is at school. This is just not necessary. So we wanted to also look at SNAP participation rates for the working poor. What does that mean? Legal, illegal? What does it mean? California participation rates at 50%, and we're seeing at the same time Food Insecure California is 2.2 million, which is 17.2 million in the United States. So, I'm so sorry, I'm not coordinating well with these slides. Okay, so I'm going to now pass over to Ilieta, who's going to give a little more information about the barriers.
Okay, so to talk a little bit about the barriers, according to the SDA, to begin our study, we had to find research, of course, and the target population and the population that is underutilizing these benefits would be the general low-income working poor, the elderly, and legal immigrants. And why are these individuals not utilizing the benefits? It's mostly because they do not realize they are eligible. Some don't know how or where to get the information from. There's misunderstandings. Surely Marios will talk about those as well. They don't know who's eligible and who is. Just do not want to accept government assistance, which means sometimes they're embarrassed. They don't want to say they're accepting government assistance. Language barriers we found was actually one of the biggest barriers, and Jen will talk about that when we talk about our survey. Time and transportation barriers, some people don't find it's worth it. It's too complicated to get to the offices. There's too much paperwork involved. As far as I'm aware, the quarterly reporting is still in place, which means they have to fill out paperwork every 3 months. And the time it takes to fill out this paperwork, it's just not worth it. So sometimes, you don't fill out the paperwork, so you're not going to be eligible. Seniors may not understand the nature of the program, and another big one was children of non-citizens. So immigration status does not matter, especially if your children are citizens. Does not mean that you won't be eligible for those benefits as well. So this is the research we found were the main barriers. So from there, we took on and came up with a survey that Jen is going to quickly talk about.
Hello. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. So we took. I'm kind of loud. Is this too loud? Okay. Wave your hand if I'm really loud because I may blow you away. I'm sorry. Okay. So we took the we took the barriers that we found through research, and these were things like the state of California Department of Public Health had looked at already what they had found in surveys of people that they had been talking to. And we wanted to kind of take that and do a pilot study in the LA area. And from our talks with Lisa Pino that Heather was talking about earlier, there really isn't anything like this that's been done in Los Angeles at all. Food insecurity, yes. Specific barriers to CalFresh, not so much. So we went out and did these surveys ourselves. And also community nutrition students from last quarter helped us as well. And we ended up interviewing 99 low-income Latino adults in East Los Angeles, which is where we focused. And it was at the East Los Angeles Farmers Market where we already had a connection, and Laura will talk about that next. And also Home Depot. And that's one of the harder places to go actually is Home Depot. They went to the day workers line, and it's even hard to approach them just in general, no matter who you are. They often ran away from the person before they even had a chance to say who they were, which you would expect. There's issues about whether or not they're a citizen, and also just wondering who's approaching them and what their purpose is. We did an anonymous one-page survey, often facilitated by the person giving the survey itself. We had tried to have them answer, but often we end up asking them the questions and kind of talking them through it. So what did we find? So 83% of those 99 surveyed did not receive CalFresh benefits. And we kind of asked them, did you receive it, did you not receive it? And then those who did not receive, how many of them had never heard of CalFresh? And out of that 83%, 76% had never heard of it. We even talked with them about it. They didn't know what SNAP was, they didn't know what CalFresh was. They often knew what food stamps were, but we tried to avoid those two words. So what are some, following asking them why that they hadn't heard about it, we kind of asked them questions about what may keep them from doing it or participating. And the main things we found were that language, so if they were Spanish speaking, which most of them were, that they thought that would be something that would be difficult in communicating and trying to get in touch with someone, going into the office and talking to them, thinking that they would only speak English. Literacy, just being able to fill out the survey in general on their own was an issue, or we noted that, I guess you could say. And also citizenship in general. They were either afraid of being found out, or just in general, even if they were a citizen, they were worried about those benefits being taken away from them. So that's kind of a common concern with accessing services. Some other things that we found, I have written down here so I wouldn't forget. Not as many people highlighted them as here. This was usually half of the people. But they had already, some of them had tried to ask questions before, of both those who had heard and who hadn't heard. They had tried to ask questions before and they didn't feel that they were answered, so they never went further. They did not understand the application. I don't know if anyone has ever tried to fill out a CalFresh application, but it is quite long. And now they do have it online, but most of the people we talked to actually said that they would not even go online. They would want to talk to someone in person and want the help to fill it out. Some of them were embarrassed. You talked about that a little bit earlier. That's something that's there, that they're worried about accessing public services. And a lot of them actually, about 20 of them didn't think that they needed the service. Weren't sure, but just in general said, oh, I don't need a service like that. So now Laura's going to talk about her specific experience at the East LA Farmers Market where we did a lot of these surveys.
My experience was doing the surveys at East Los Angeles Farmers Market. It was very, for me, it was a very experience that I could be familiar with the community because it was Latino community, and at East Los Angeles Farmers Market promotes a cooking class every first Saturday of each month. So about 15 to 25 people attend at these cooking classes where where Chef Aaron promotes a healthier eating lifestyle with adding more fruits and vegetables. So the USDA grant and the East LA Farmers Market, we both work together to complete the surveys. One of the first things that I let them aware to the community, Latino community, was to tell them about the difference they would make by filling out this survey. So the insights from the survey is that the Latino community feels more comfortable when someone from the same community is doing the surveys. We also found that good communication skills and speaking in their language, which was Spanish, and having trust and same culture was essential key components to get complete surveys. Also, I just want to mention that these surveys were completed at the end of the cooking classes, and therefore the Latino community was willing to participate. Also, the Latino community was able to build trust and ask questions or any concerns they had. I remember one day we had a special booth for us at East Los Angeles Farmers Market, and I remember Cesar and all of us were there like around 9 to 12, and we hadn't had enough surveys. But when I got there and there was a leader with me, and after the cooking class, we got most of the surveys completed. Now Cesar's going to talk more about the insights. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so just to add on what Laura already said, you want to give participants space and time. In a lot of surveys, some people are just going to want to go right through them and answer them right away because they're not really interested in what's in it. But we did find that some people actually wanted to go through and read everything line by line. And if you see the survey, it's actually quite a long survey, so it's important not to get it's not important to go through them and get more people to answer the surveys, but to really make sure that the people that are filling them out really go through it and know what the survey is all about. And as Jen also said, some of them needed help because of the literacy level to go through them and to actually know what every little bullet point is. Another important thing is to answer any questions in their language, which is Spanish or any other languages. For this particular survey, since most of it was in East Los Angeles, it was mostly in Spanish, but we all know that we live in a very, our population here has many different languages. Depending on where you are, it might have to be another language, so it's important to have someone with you that speaks the language of that appropriate population. It's also important to make them feel comfortable, not just ask them to fill out the survey. You should be able to make some type of small talk with them because it is about trust, and they want to be able to trust you, which kind of goes hand in hand with the next point, that you need to understand that some of them, they're afraid to answer because of their immigration status. They're hesitant about any type of paper form, so it's really important for them to trust you and to really know that it's anonymous and there's really nothing that could affect them by answering the surveys. And it's important, as Jen mentioned, that 76% of the people did not know what CalFresh was, so we learned that our survey was an education tool for them, and most of them were able to get a better knowledge of what it was after reading the survey and us explaining to them what the survey is. And to finish off, I'd like to say that this was kind of our pilot study. We didn't have all of the resources that we needed, but we really feel that a better survey could be done if we could separate the population between those that are eligible and those that aren't eligible, and maybe that way we could find a better idea of what exactly are the barriers holding those that are eligible from applying to CalFresh. So with that, I'd like to bring Heather back.
So really just to wrap up, we have some really exciting news. This research will be presented at the, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Annual Food and Nutrition Conference Expo. So for those of you who don't know who the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics are, it's the American Dietetics Association. So we're very excited, we just got accepted. And but beyond our own excitement, it's also going to be a great forum for us to present this research on a more widespread level, at a national level, and hopefully really get some attention to this problem of why these assistance programs aren't getting used. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Susan. Now I'm really happy to present Yolanda Aviano, who's from California Food Policy Advocates, and she's going to be talking about understanding CalFresh. So you had a chance to understand a little bit about the barriers. She's going to tell you a little bit more about CalFresh itself.
I realize that I'll be speaking to the experts here, all of you, so I will probably skip through a couple of things or maybe reaffirm some of the things you already know. So Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. SNAP went through the rebranding of their name, and California, through focus groups, through certain focused efforts, chose CalFresh as their name. And I really like the name. It describes what they're trying to push for, which is fresh vegetables and fruits and better nutritional resources of nutrition. So I represent California Food Policy Advocates. We're a nonprofit in LA based in Oakland. We are not only an advocacy group, but also a policy advocacy group that focuses on bringing an increase of nutritional elements to low-income Californians and giving them accessibility to nutrition and affordable food. So I'll talk about CalFresh. I'll talk about the threats to CalFresh, the CalFresh program, who's eligible, how one applies, the requirements for applying, how it's used, and who can help folks enroll to CalFresh. California Food Policy Advocates has had successes in the past of pushing for certain legislation to come to fruition to relieve the enrollment process from some of its barriers. Last year, AB 6 was signed by the governor, and what AB 6 did was it eliminated the need for fingerprinting in the enrollment process. That was a barrier because some participants didn't want to go through the enrollment process because of just questioning what is going to be done with that fingerprint. Having to go to the district office just to finish the application process of putting that fingerprint, through the process. So now with AB 6, that is no longer a requirement. The same legislator that introduced that bill, Assemblymember Fuentes out of the Northeast San Fernando Valley, currently is pushing for AB 1560, which we call Food for Health. It's currently in suspense and appropriations. It's been introduced, but whenever there's a fiscal impact to a bill, it's put on hold for a bit, and they have to do a lot of strategizing and a lot of hustling to get that pushed and out of suspense so it could be heard with the other house, which is the Senate. What 1560 aims to do is limit the barriers of enrollment. Already, folks are getting health insurance through Medi-Cal, and at the same time, they could qualify for CalFresh. So wouldn't it be great if at the same time that they're getting accessibility to health insurance, health benefits, they could simultaneously get access to nutritional benefits in the form of CalFresh. So with this, if this is enacted, and we hope it does, it'll improve participation rates. It'll put 200,000 plus Californians on CalFresh. It'll improve the efficiency of the enrollment process, killing two birds with one stone, and so it'll just plainly increase accessibility. I know that there's a lot of push with a lot of agencies already. They've taken a client and they see that, oh, well, you qualify for this, you qualify for that too, but this will already have a one system in place. So now that we're going through the whole Healthcare Reform Act, there's going to be a huge push to get people to use Medi-Cal, to get enrolled in Medi-Cal. So this will be an incentive. When they enroll to Medi-Cal, they would also get the nutritional benefit. Our policy advocate up in Oakland that has more information on this bill, if you ever want to reach out to her name is Carrie. Her contact info is there. So CalFresh, as you already know what it is. It's the nutritional benefit program from the USDA, Food and Nutrition Services, and it's all low-income families have the accessibility to purchase nutritious food through it. It's the first line of defense against poverty. The New York Times reported that since the recession, the economic crisis, starting in 2007, there's been an increase of 18 million applicants for CalFresh. So you could just see that through this economic crisis, here are folks actually getting some beneficial nutritional CalFresh dollars to buy that food so they don't maintain or get stuck under the poverty level. So not only does this bring money for food, but there's a multiplier effect, economic dollars to the community. So for every $5, every 5 CalFresh dollars that's spent, that means it's about $9, approximately $9 in economic spending that's increased within the community. All right, and SNAP is, CalFresh is an entitlement program, which means if you qualify, you will get the benefit. So it serves Californians and it serves millions of Californians. About 46 million people throughout the country are accessing CalFresh. There's 3.9 million in California. And again, as you heard before, half of those that actually qualify are enrolled. They've learned the process, they've learned that they become eligible, so they have enrolled. Let's see, that has brought about $7 billion in food purchasing resources annually in the state of California. But again, there's barriers there that limit the accessibility. So California has actually lost annually $4.9 billion because of those federal purchase funds not coming into the state. And the multiplier effect, that equals $8.7 billion that could be coming into our state. So what does that mean for LA County? Well, the numbers, if I could just tell you about them, there's been a loss of $1.87 billion in federal benefits to LA County, which LA County is doing a lot of work to increase the accessibility and the enrollment, but at the moment we rank 41 out of 58 counties, so we're not doing well, but we're all optimistic that we're doing all the hard work that we can to increase accessibility because of bills like AB 6 being passed and hopefully AB 1560. So, and the reasons that they don't apply, you've already heard it, is the lack of information, the misinformation, the fear of government, those type of issues. So the threats to SNAP, to CalFresh, and it's all happening right now with the introduction of the 2012 Farm Bill. Our legislators, our Congress members have introduced proposals to cut the federal nutrition program. So what does that mean? They're proposing, the senators are proposing 4.5 billion cuts over the next 10 years. So that'll limit the accessibility of CalFresh dollars into California, so fewer benefits for folks that are low income. Also, the application process will become more burdensome, and this will just diminish the whole point that we're all trying to do, is to give access to nutritional programs to increase people's well-being. So we have CFPA on their website has a letter that we send to our Congress members to make them know, have them know that we want these cuts to not happen. We want them to maintain the budget for SNAP. So if you are interested in showing that letter and signing your name on that letter, look for it on our website, cfpa.net, and forward it to those reps so they can know that California knows what's going on. So those that are eligible have to fall between a certain income bracket. Those that are eligible are American citizens, also are documented immigrants, but they have to fall within a certain poverty level. Their gross income limit is equal to or less than 130% of federal income level. So a family of two, a household of two, their gross income money that comes into their household before taxes is about $1,500, and they're estimated to get approximately that amount there, which is $367, and that's a maximum approximation. So how do you apply it? You've heard it already. Most people feel comfortable with that face-to-face contact. I just was given this role. I'm very thankful to have the privilege to work for CFDA, but I've been telling my own family, I have a lot of tias, a lot of aunts that are single mothers, and they have been able to enroll or in the process of enrolling, but they feel most comfortable with that face-to-face contact. Others that are more internet savvy could go to the DPSS website. You could always Google CalFresh and you'll be sent to the California Department of Social Service website, and then right there you're shown, oh, if you want to apply for benefits, click there. You choose your county, and then you're directed to the LA County, if you live in LA County, DPSS website. There's always the process of doing it over the phone or by mail. So if you can't go to a district office, you don't know where they're at, there's other ways of having accessibility. And I forgot to mention, so if you know of a student that might qualify, a student that's eligible has to be between the ages of 18 and 50. They're 50 years old. They have to be enrolled in school, of course, have time at least. And they have to have at least one of the following requirements, which is work 20 hours a week, or receive federal work study, or be a parent of a child younger than 6 years old, or receive CalWorks. Some of the questions that are asked is identification, your social security number. You have to show proof of income. You got to show how much money you make. So either through bank statements, and you also have to show what type of expenses you have, such as your utility bills, your rent, that sort of thing. Once you submit your application, there's an interview that's done, and that interview is just to reaffirm the information that you sent. A lot of our applicants are homeless. They don't have access to a phone. They can't send anything by mail, so that's why they do that one-on-one contact. And there's always the opportunity to get expedited services where they're not going to, the eligibility worker at the district office is not going to say, oh, come back in 30 days. You know, there's ways around that. So services could be expedited. And the form that you get your CalFresh benefit is through the EBT card, the electronic benefit transfer card. And those cards are used at the grocery markets, the convenience stores, the farmers market. I know Hala and other folks in part of the LA Food Council are trying to get more farmers market managers to have that EBT program. So if you go to a farmers market and you see that they don't accept EBT, you might want to ask around, like, oh, have you looked into inquiring on, enrolling folks or getting the EBT program here, because that does bring extra dollars to their business. So May is officially CalFresh Awareness Month. There's a lot of events happening. I just saw a draft calendar of all the activities that's happening throughout LA County, where the CalFresh mobile van is driving around and helping folks enroll. You could go to our farmers market and they'll be there, the family source centers and they'll be there. If you want to know how to enroll and work with a CalFresh outreach person, then get in touch with the LA Regional Food Bank. They're a great source to know where they're going to be at. You can ask them where you're going to be this Friday, and they'll be able to let you know. And maybe it's somewhere close to you. That's their number and their website. You could just Google LA Regional Food Bank. That's me, Yolanda Anguiano, and I encourage you to use our website as a resource, or give us a call and ask us specific questions. I kind of ran through this, and of course, CalFresh released the whole severity of poverty, but we all understand that it takes more than just the CalFresh benefit. It takes complete streets, having access to that nutritional food source in your neighborhood, and all sorts of things. So we're getting there. So I'm a very optimistic person. I know all of you guys are too. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. It certainly has increased my understanding of CalFresh, and I'm sure it has helped with yours as well. Next, I'd like to introduce Lena Rios. And Lino is the director of the Los Angeles County CalFresh, DPSS, and he's going to be clarifying any misconceptions that you might have about CalFresh.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Lino Rios. I'm the program director for the CalFresh program for LA County Department of Public Social Services. Our department has the responsibility of administering the CalFresh program in LA County. The state of California has opted to allow each county to administer the program. Some other states have its state supervised, but not, in California it's state supervised but county administered. So I guess my presentation has probably been covered by the previous presentations. They talked about the barriers, the access, but this evening, I'm going to talk about a couple of misconceptions that we've seen in the department that impact the folks from applying for the CalFresh program. So there's several misconceptions, and again, there are misconceptions, myths, barriers. One of them that we see, and Yolanda just talked about it, is where do I go apply for these CalFresh benefits? And it's true. Heather and them say, a lot of folks don't know that CalFresh is food stamps or less food stamps or SNAP. So we're trying to educate our or the LA County residents that CalFresh is the former food stamps program. Before, there was only one way to apply, is at our district offices. We have about 23 district offices throughout LA County that administer the program. So folks that wanted to apply for CalFresh would need to go to one of our district offices. Within the last several years, we know that there's food insecurity in LA County, and our department has making strides in going out to the communities and informing folks that you don't have to come to a district office. There's other alternatives on where you can apply for these benefits. We've partnered with dozens of agencies that are assisting folks to apply for CalFresh, the CalFresh benefits. We're reaching out to faith-based organizations, churches, different religious groups that will assist us in, again, educating the public regarding the program and informing them that that program is there to assist them. Last year, we launched our online application, and we did a soft launch, and the department right now is looking to do a big major campaign to inform the community in LA County that now you don't have to go to a district office and wait a couple of hours to apply for these benefits. Now you can do it at home. You can go to a library. If you have access to the internet at the library, you can apply there. You can also call our toll-free number at 1-877-597-4777. You'll speak to a live person Monday through Friday, and they can give you information about the program, not only CalFresh, but all the other programs that the department offers. And they talked about the mobile unit. We do have an office on wheels. We launched this in 2010, and again, we partner with a lot of community-based organizations. When they're having any type of outreach event and they contact us, and if our mobile unit could be there, it'll be there. We have eligibility workers there that are assisting the public in completing their applications, debunking myths, giving them applications to take and complete at a later time. So we're in LA County, we're all over the place. As Yolanda mentioned, yesterday the Board of Supervisors proclaimed the month of May CalFresh Awareness Month. And we have about over 400 events scheduled for this month, to conduct outreach and educate the public regarding the program. Let me see if I got this controller right. Another one is another barrier or misconception myth is the, I'm undocumented. I have to be a U.S. citizen or I have to be a legal permanent resident. There's a lot of families in Los Angeles County that the parents are undocumented. They have U.S.-born children, you know, and they're afraid to come to apply for these benefits for those U.S.-born children. And this is stemming from all the news that you hear regarding other states having these type of immigration laws, Arizona, Alabama. It's all over the news, so these families are scared. You know, when they come to our district office, they know it's a federal agency. You know, I don't want nothing to do with you guys because you're going to report me to INS, and then I'm going to get deported. But that's not the truth. We don't report anybody to INS or USCIS, the new name. Just use your information to determine how much benefits you're going to be eligible to, or your family's going to be eligible to. Another misconception is the fingerprinting was discussed earlier. You know, we use that to prevent duplicate aid. We know there's some folks out there that want to cheat the system. You know, I want to apply for benefits here, then I'm going to go to my neighboring county, Orange County, and apply for benefits there. So the state of California implemented this several years back, where we would finger image the adults just to ensure that they were not receiving benefits in another county. We didn't share that information with the Department of Justice nor with the law enforcement. That was only, again, for the county's internal use. Again, you know, I'm a legal permanent resident right now. I want to become a U.S. A naturalized citizen. You know, if I applied for CalFresh benefits for myself or for my family, it might have an impact on, you know, me one day becoming a naturalized citizen. Again, that's false information. A lot of these immigration lawyers or notaries that really don't know the laws, you know, are informing these folks, no, don't apply because it will have an impact when you want to become a naturalized citizen. So receiving CalFresh benefits is not public charge. Other benefits, as your cash benefits, might have an impact on you becoming a legal or lawful permanent resident or a naturalized citizen. But public charge is not. We're partnering with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Next Wednesday, we're going to have a big event at the Adams, Vermont Farmers Market at 2 o'clock, where we're going to have representatives from the state of California, California Department of Social Services, United States Department of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition, and we're going to have representatives from USCIS, Immigration. And they're going to be talking to the press. We're you know, doing a press release for the press to be there, for the folks to be there to hear that these three agencies are working together to break down that barrier. That's one of the big barriers here in LA County, is that public charge barrier or that immigration barrier. Another misconception is if I apply, I'm only going to get $15, $16. You know, it's not worth it. Paperwork, go to the district office, wait a couple of hours. Well, that's not true. You know, when we compute the benefits for these folks, we take into account their rent, child care, any type of medical deductions that they might have. So we have those as deductions. So it's not just based on your gross income. Yeah, that's where we start from. But then after all these deductions, you might end up with, you know, a good amount every month. So again, we're trying to dispel that myth, or that misconception that, you know, you're not going to get $10. It all depends on your household circumstances. And I think that's it. It's a short presentation. I guess it was all covered. But I just want to add some other information. Since my department administer this, right now in LA County, there's a little over 1 million folks that are on the program. And we got another 1 million to enroll. And it equates to about close to 500,000 households in LA County that we're doing. And you know, it's good to hear that Heather and her group are doing this type of surveys and, you know, identifying these type of barriers, because that helps the department on where we were going to target, you know, the communities, you know, the low-income communities. Another thing that we're doing
Aggie that got a job. You know what an Aggie is, right? Texas A&M, it's Texas Aggie. We always tell jokes about them like they're stupid, but they're all scientists and engineers and everything like that. So it's all out of resentment that we tell these jokes. So the Aggie got a job, and his job was to paint the stripe down the middle of the freeway. First day, he painted 10 miles. Second day, maybe only about 3. Third day, not even half a mile. Fourth day, barely a few inches. The boss called him in. He said, buddy, I'm going to have to let you go. And the Aggie goes, how come? He goes, well, buddy, I'm going to tell you. The first day, he painted about 10 miles of stripe. Second day, he only painted about 3. Third day, barely half a mile. The last day, he only painted a few inches. And he goes, well, boss, I couldn't help it. The can of paint kept getting further and further behind me. So, moving on from that to the Market Match program. You have a flyer in your folder for the Market Match program. And this is just a bonus program that we started about 2 years ago, Hunger Action LA, with the Adams and Vermont Farmers Market. And we added some more markets. I'll tell you about that in a second. But basically, if somebody spends $5 of CalFresh benefits at the market, we give them an additional $5 in coupons. So it's like doubling their money. Now, it's just up to $5, so it's not quite doubling their money. But it is very much appreciated by folks. And we do it every week at the Adams, Vermont Farmers Market. And we do it monthly or sometimes twice monthly at the East LA, Huntington Park, and Long Beach markets. And during the month of May, in honor of CalFresh Awareness Month, we expanded it to 7 additional markets for the month of May. So that's what's on your flyer in there. And some of the folks from the group here are actually volunteering at some of those markets, which is really fantastic. So to give you some background on the why of this program, it really has two purposes, 2 goals. And one is because we're all encouraging people to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, but we all know that they tend to be more expensive, especially the fresh, locally grown stuff that we promote at the farmers markets. Which brings us to the second goal of the Market Match program, which is to give our local farmers, using organic methods within 100 miles of LA County, some are further away, to give them a bigger share of the EBT dollars that are out there. You know, the SNAP program nationwide is a $75 billion program. I'm not sure what it is in California, Leo. It's like a couple $2 billion. It's like $2 billion with, as you can tell from the speakers earlier, an additional $1 billion if we were to enroll all the additional people in the program who are eligible. So why not use some of that money to support our local farm economy? The people who are growing the fresh fruits and vegetables that we all need. We know we all need to eat far more of them. Very few adults are eating the recommended servings of fruits and vegetables, and our kids are eating, as I'm always hearing, the flaming hot Cheetos, right? But we almost had a program in California that would have put 10 cents back on your EBT CalFresh card for any fruits and vegetables you bought, up to $10 per month. And that's actually a law, but it hasn't been implemented because we don't have the money in the California budget. This is a bill that was written by California food policy advocates, and it was carried by Mark Leno up in the Bay Area, assembly member, and it was called 2384. This is about 5-6 years ago. And it was signed by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, that notorious liberal. And so what this bill would have done is every time you used your EBT card to buy fruits or vegetables, and it would have been any kind, not just the farmer's market kind, you would have had 10 cents put back on your card up to $10 per month. And they signed it into law that said this can only be implemented if we have the money. California didn't have the money, and the federal government could not provide the money for that to happen. But there's a gentleman named Gus Schumacher who used to be in the Carter administration in the USDA. And he pioneered a program in Massachusetts that started giving people extra money with their food stamps, as they were then, to help buy more fruits and vegetables. And this idea spread around the country. In California, it started in 2009 at the City Heights Farmers Market in San Diego. There's a group in California, it's kind of like a foundation called Roots of Change, who's dedicated to changing the way that we all eat and making California agriculture and fresh, locally grown food front and center of our diet. So they subcontracted with several groups, of which Hunger Action LA was one. And in January of 2010, we got to see the City Heights farmers market program. And one of the things that really impressed me about it was they took into consideration some of the people who, in spite of the wonderful things about the CalFresh program, cannot qualify because they get SSI. This is our senior, a lot of our senior and disabled population is getting supplemental security income. And because many years ago, the state of California put some extra money in that, they said you're not qualified for what's now the CalFresh benefits. But the San Diego market was looking out for those folks too, and we decided to take that path as well. In Michigan, the version they have of this program is called Double Up Food Bucks. And they match people's purchases at farmers markets up to $20. So you could go and spend $20 and get $20 extra coupons. They got a huge grant from the Fair Food Network and from the George Soros Foundation to implement it at markets all over the state. So they have it at 40 farmers markets in the state of Michigan. In LA County alone, we have 120 farmers markets, about which 40 take EBT at all. And the ones that are doing market match for the month of May are the 11 that we're doing, plus 3 more that are done by Sustainable Economic Enterprises, who are most famous because they operate the Hollywood Farmers Market, which is the largest market in LA. So the money for the vouchers that we give out, and they look like this. And I really love my job because I get to create little pieces of play money, make them all different colors. We got like 4 different colors for the markets, and hand them out and watch people actually go and spend them. And it works. And the farmers actually get reimbursed for it. It's great. But there isn't any government spending on this program. It's all from foundations and from, it's being raised locally through some grassroots efforts. For example, 2 of the markets that we added on just now, the Mar Vista and the East Hollywood market, they have gone rogue in a good way. They're out raising their own money to replenish their own vouchers. So that's really cool. It's like an idea that we started, and everyone in their own community can kind of come together and say, hey, let's build up the market match program at our own local market. Let's do this. And then the opportunities for volunteering are also really neat. But what I was saying as the can of paint got further behind me, there is no federal funding, but there may be. The Senate recently, the Senate Ag Committee recently passed its version of the Farm Bill. And on the Senate Ag Committee is Debbie Stabenow, senator from Michigan. And she put in there a couple of $1 million for pilot projects and block grants for farmers market incentive programs just like this, which is great. Now she also supervised them putting about $4 billion worth of cuts to the CalFresh or SNAP program overall. So we cannot support that, even though it would be a tremendous help to our program. But it does show that these kind of programs are catching people's attention around the country. So we have several goals as an organization with the program, and one of them is what I would like to call appropriate direct service. As a policy organization, we're not out there handing out boxes of food like the LA Food Bank. You know, we're usually up just telling people what the bills are, and please vote for this and do that. But with the Market Match program, it gives us a chance to actually serve people in a direct way and then involve them in the work that we're doing. So it's been great for our organizing. We've met people at the Market Match program who are customers who are now advocates themselves, speaking of for programs. And it sort of sets a model for the policymakers. Like, look, you know, we all want to encourage fresh fruits and vegetables. Let's do something about it. Let's don't say we're encouraging fruits and vegetables on the one hand and then continue to support the same type of agribusiness on the other hand that people are unfortunately buying with a lot of their dollars. So everyone is on the bandwagon now. DPSS2, as Lino mentioned, is encouraging healthy eating. CFPA, all of their bills have this sort of double angle to them, the hunger side and the nutrition side. And so one thing that impressed me though was to see on the myths and misconception sheets in your folder about the SNAP program and the national debt. And this is costing the taxpayers money and the national debt, and everyone's going after this program. In fact, how many of you in the room have heard of Paul Ryan? Does that name ring a bell with anyone? Okay, this is a name, anyone who's concerned about Social Security or Medicare or SNAP or anything that helps anyone in this country, you should know that name. Because Mr. Ryan has passed, his version of the budget that would cut $169 billion out of SNAP over the next 10 years. And he even finds like religious reasons to justify this. So please read up on Paul Ryan and the Paul Ryan budget. And the interesting thing about Mr. Ryan's budget is that he goes the extra mile to protect the military. And we're in fact living in the times that our President Dwight Eisenhower talked about, when he said that every gun that is fired and every rocket that is made and every ship that is built represents in the end food taken out of the mouths of children and clothes being taken away from people who are freezing, or something like that. But you get the drift, right? He was a very bold guy. I mean, he would be considered too liberal even for the Democratic Party these days. But that was Dwight Eisenhower, a Republican. And he was president in the 1950s, and he saw half our country's coming down. So it's coming down to this tug of war. And there are these two big cash cows in the government. One is social programs to help people, and the other is military hardware to create ongoing wars. So think about that and look up about that Ryan budget and stand up and fight for these programs. And thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you, Frank. What I'd like to do now is have our panel come up and come up to the table. And that would be our speakers and also the students from the USDA team. Come on up and sit at the table. And in the meantime, while they're coming up here, you might like to check under your chair and see if you have a little orange sticker. And if you don't, you can jump to the next chair if there's nobody in it, like up here, there's a few empty chairs. And if you have the sticker, there you go. Got ready to be water tail. If you find a sticker, then you get the fruit basket that's on the table. The community nutrition students put together the lovely fruit basket. So now yours to enjoy. This is also a good time if any of you want to get another plate of food. Feel free to go over, get something to drink, get some food. And I'd like you to think about everything that you've learned tonight. There's just so much information, and I think all of you are so much more knowledgeable about resources that are available in the greater Los Angeles area, and in particular about CalFresh. But I bet that you also might have some questions. So this would be the perfect time to formulate your questions and ask our expert panel. So do we have any questions out there for our panel?
Go ahead and stand up if your voice is loud enough, or feel free to come up here. Okay, hi, my name is
Patrice Terrell. This question is for Lino Rios. So you said that CalFresh partners with faith-based organizations, and when they partner with them, is this like public service announcements, or can individuals actually complete the paperwork there, like the application?
Yeah. So this is something new that we're starting off. A lot of faith-based organizations have events at their churches, and what we do is we provide them with informational material, and their own staff will reach out to the folks that go to their churches. So that's what we're doing. We're hoping to participate in a event this month on the 17th at Biola University in La Mirada, and there's going to be over 500 pastors there, and we're hoping to be part of this event. It's they're calling it Pastors Appreciation Luncheon, And we might be able to have our mobile unit there, so we're gonna connect with a lot of pastors, and then once we connect with them, then they'll let us know when they're having events after churches. Right now, we do have this agents or this faith-based organization that is under contract with our department for them to assist the public in completing that application. So this church assists them, and then they give us the application, and for every application that we approve that they've taken or they have assisted in taking, we'll give them a stipend of $40 per approved application.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I have a question about the CalWorks for students. A lot of students receive financial aid and also federal assistance, as in federal loans. Will they still be able to qualify for the CalFresh program? And if so, how limited is the resources if they are receiving, say, loans or something like that that are used to subsidize education?
Yeah. So there is policies regarding eligibility, regarding our students, and as Yolanda mentioned, the students are eligible under certain conditions. Most of the loans, I want to say, are exempt under our program, but you do have to be at least in school of higher education and meet a criteria which it's, I believe, be working 20 hours per week, be in a federally financed work study, be receiving CalWorks, having a child, I believe, under 6. So there is certain criteria that they have to meet. Otherwise, if they don't meet those criteria, they're not going to be eligible. Right now, what we're trying to do in LA County is push the state to change those criteria to allow some of these students to be eligible to the program.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe financial aid is not part of their income, right? It's not included as their income?
Correct.
I would also like to add, as you know, I'm a student here, and I do receive footsteps, and only my husband works, and I'm a student, so we do report how much he earns. I do report my class schedule, and so therefore they're able to see how much I'm eligible, and we receive benefits which help us with all the other expenses.
My name is Sunil. Probably I'm the only one in this room who is not very much connected with the whole thing. My question is for Frank. Probably I hold some of the strong views that you have. You know, we live in a time where we see a lot of jokes. Including yesterday's president, like, you know, even a person like President Obama has to make a joke like yesterday's sudden visit to Afghanistan. My question is, with regard to many of you were stressing about farmers market, and I had been to at least 10 of the farmers market around in LA, and I don't know, I never felt that I belong to this farmers market, and we are talking about a population who are way below these levels, right? I don't know, I don't feel that way because I work for the CSU system, but still, I don't know, I think that, I don't know what's the connection you made with regard to, but I see that those, I never was able to make a connection, like, you know, it's always the upper strata who visit those farmers market, and even myself, you know, even you cannot even eat there, right? It's so expensive, all those food which is given out there. So, what is the stress to this farmers market when we are dealing with a population who are maybe 1,000 miles away from those farmers markets?
Well, there's a couple of answers to that. One is you should check out the farmers markets on Central Avenue or in Watts or on Adams in Vermont, because those are targeted to low-income communities.
Okay.
40% of the business at the Adams in Vermont farmers market is CalFresh. They're like the highest concentrated ones. So that's one thing, but the other thing is the emphasis on farmers markets is because that's the outlet for fresh, locally grown stuff. And this is the comparing the two systems of agriculture. You know, that with the industrial agriculture where food is driven around for hundreds of miles before it gets to the store, where it's treated with pesticides, where it's grown with harsh chemical fertilizers. Now, if there were more avenues for those local farmers to sell their food, they could eventually bring the price down. Right now, you pay a higher price at the farmer's market because that one farmer driving all the way in from Santa Clarita at the closest is paying all his overhead. He's paying the cost of the workers, he's paying the cost of the gasoline, and so on, and he's just growing a small plot. He can't get the economy of scale that the big agribusiness does, like Monsanto and Dow and these companies that own huge, vast fields. But the product is superior. So what you are at the farmer's market, you're paying the real cost of food. When you buy most of the other stuff, you're paying an artificially low cost that's subsidized through various different channels, including our government, which is even in the farm bill that Debbie Stabenow just signed off on. There's still big giveaways to the biggest and wealthiest agribusiness corporations that are in there. And so they're able to sell cheaper because they have less competition and they're producing on such a scale that they can do that. But what is the long-term price that we're all going to pay in the terms of our health? So if there are more avenues created for the local farmers, such as marketing some of their products to schools, to hospitals, creating what they call food hubs, where they can leave some of their food instead of just selling it once a week in a parking lot for 4 hours, have it where it's more available for people through those roads, the price of that can eventually come down also.
I would just actually like to add something too. I think I understand where Professor Sunil is coming from because I'm a farmer's market lover myself for years since I've worked minimum wage to whatever I'm making now. And I understand that the Grove Farmers Market or the Torrance Farmers Market or Santa Monica Farmers Market, my $10 really wouldn't go very far. But I recently just started volunteering at the East Hollywood Farmers Market and realized how much cheaper everything is and very reasonable, exceptional produce, which they also are going to start accepting EBT. Well, actually they did last week, but the grand opening is going to be tomorrow, so if you guys would like to go there.
Yeah, and they're starting market
But the gap, I understand now, like, depending on where the farmers markets are, they seem to have much more reasonable prices.
I have a quick question. The Center for Disease Control reports that one of the strategies they believe is successful for obesity programs is a price point strategy with markets. I've not seen that implemented. I've not heard what's going on with that type of a strategy, and I was wondering if any of you have any experience in that and how that might work or not work within the farmers markets that we all promote.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, because they mentioned there are several strategies that the Center for Disease Control reports as effective strategies for reducing the obesity epidemic. And they say things like corner store conversions, areas where there's lots of liquor stores, how about we get some fresh fruit in there? One strategy is increasing farmers market for more fresh product. And then they mention pricing strategies at supermarkets. And I'm like, I've not seen anyone working on that I know of, and I'm not sure how that even works. So I was just wondering if any of you have any insight on that. All right.
I could ask my colleagues at CFPA and see if they have any insight on that. We can get back to you. You could reach out to me on and ask, hey, what's up?
I'm not sure where that came from or who is working on that, but it's, there's a lot of supermarkets stepping up, like Northgate. Northgate's the one we all know. And they're really stepping up to try to make a difference and see what they can do to improve their products that they're offering and maybe working with more local fresh and doing more low proteins and things. So I'm just wondering, what does the pricing strategy mean? And should we be pursuing that or what's up with that? So
I think you've stumped the panel. We should have a prize for somebody.
Second basket.
By pricing, you mean that you should make everything more affordable, of course.
Right. I don't know, because if it's already the lowest possible price and it's way lower than our farm my
Well,
sister.
here's something else too. Think about where our government subsidies go. They go to commodities that can be stored, like corn and wheat and stuff like that. Now, let's say there was some subsidy for the local grower so that he didn't have to charge as much, so that some of his costs were covered. That might be one strategy.
Right.
And right now, what we do is we subsidize the consumer. That's the market match, that's essentially CalFresh.
Another question, Charlene.
This is actually for Frank. You were explaining to us how you like to make fake money. Because you make it with different colors or whatever. And you said that if, so people with CalFresh can take that fake money and the farmers would actually get reimbursed.
Right.
How does that work?
So Hunger Action LA receives funds from different sources. Some is from Roots of Change Foundation and some are from other different grants that we get and funds that we raise. Then we pay the operators of the farmers markets because we don't run the markets ourselves.
Yeah.
So we pay the company, the people who manage the farmers market. Then we create the vouchers. The people get them. The people spend them with the individual vendors at the market. The vendors turn those vouchers into the market manager, who, with the money that we've given them, reimburses the vendor.
Any other questions for our panel? Yes.
My name is Cecilia Alvarez. I know a lot of people, a lot of guys that are immigrants, illegal, and they don't have families, they don't have, like they're single, they don't have really good jobs for the same reason, have their illegal status. Do they have any possibility to enter any of the, like CalFresh, or have any possibility to receive some kind of help?
Yeah, in order to receive CalFresh, you have to be a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. So if someone's here, doesn't have a legal status in the United States, they will not be eligible to at least the CalFresh program or any of our other programs, or General Relief or CalWorks or Medi-Cal's a whole different program.
And WIC is also completely different. WIC doesn't look at immigration status. So
But it's
women,
only
pregnant,
for
pregnant
women.
breastfeeding women's kids. But if you're talking about single men,
Yeah,
food pantries at churches, private organizations that are giving away food, they often don't make any distinction between someone. They might look at your residency, like if you live within the vicinity of the food pantry. Like for example, a food pantry in Torrance might not serve someone from Long Beach. But they don't look at people's, there's none that I know of that look at people's documentation for citizenship, yeah.
Yeah, I know Erica had mentioned 211. That's a great resource. I mean, you can refer them to 211 and they can let them know where the nearest food bank or food pantry is. Churches also, we also refer folks to the churches, where some churches get food from the LA Regional Food Bank and they distribute them certain days of the week.
Okay, thank you.
And I wanted to add something. A lot of smaller food pantries do not look at any kind of paperwork at all. You just need to pay a small fee. So that may be an option.
Okay, thank you.
Just for the USDA team, are you guys going to keep expanding the survey so that it'll be more representative of the community? You're still working on that?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to. I know personally I would love to see how this changes in South LA. I know you guys had some ideas about that too, about expanding it. Yeah. Nothing that we planned as of right now, because we were first just trying to get it into a conference, which we have done. So I think we'll be looking at the next step shortly though, definitely.
We have one more year on this grant, so I think it just depends on how many student workers I have with me next year and our resources, and we'll see. It would be great to continue with this research. Any other questions?
I was interested in the point about if you get SSI, that you can't get CalFresh. Could you clarify a little bit more about that? I didn't quite get if that's going to be changed or what's up with that.
I'll take this one. Yeah, there's a regulation in California that if you receive SSI, SSP, you're not eligible for the CalFresh program. It all has to do with the administration of the money administrative program. So California opted to what they use a term called cash out. And again, this is all regarding the administrative cost of the SSI-SS program. So I believe in the way I'm understanding this, it's a lot cheaper to administer the program that way than get all these million of individuals, folks, onto the CalFresh program. So it's a lot of technical legality terms that they use. There is pros and cons regarding the SSI-SSP program. One of them, for example, we have a household that's receiving CalFresh benefits, and the household there's 5 members. 4 of them are eligible, and then they have that one SSI-SSP. If the state were to change the rules and then allow these SSI-SSP folks, the income that SSI-SSP individual is receiving might make that household now ineligible to the CalFresh program. So the state looks at all the pros and cons of how it's going to benefit these individuals. So it's really, really a tough decision for the state. And I know it's been trying to be changed for the last several years, but and I believe there's a couple of states that have this. All the other states don't have this. Do you know how many?
California is the only state that still does this with SSI. And see, we actually have a higher SSI rate than most other states because of the SSP, the state supplemental payment. And what Lino was talking about was many years ago, they saw that all the SSI recipients would only qualify for what was then the minimum food stamp benefit, which at the time was $10. And they said, you know, it's going to be cheaper for us just to put $10 in their check than it is to have them go to all the trouble of going to the office, and then you pay all that administrative cost, right? Well, in all the years since then, many years SSI, SSP has not been raised in California to meet the cost of living. At the same time, the food stamp standards went up, and now CalFresh, the minimum benefit is supposed to be $16. And no one has really done a study to see if people are still getting what it's worth. The main thing that drives this issue and that drives hunger in California are our housing costs. We have the highest housing costs of anywhere in the country. So if you're getting $840 of SSI, and that's all your income, that's your rent, that's your housing, that's your medications for, you know, from your prescriptions and stuff. This is why most, one time we found that like somewhere between 40 and 50% of all the people we were surveying in food lines and food pantries were people getting SSI. So it's almost like, it was almost like a trade-off. You get the housing, but now you're paying like 90% of your income for rent.
My question is about the food items that people could buy with the CalFresh benefits. And if also, is there any restrictions, and if there's any efforts on, I guess, limiting the more unhealthier foods? And also, if we have any data of what are the people purchasing with their benefits?
Yeah, so what you can buy, or you know, how to use your CalFresh benefits is your food. You can't buy tobacco, you cannot buy alcohol. You can buy seeds either to grow vegetables, but you can't buy alcohol or detergents. It's all just for food. We do have a program called the Restaurant Meals Program. This Restaurant Meals Program serves a certain population in the CalFresh program, where some folks can buy or use their CalFresh benefits to buy prepared meals. Right now, a regular individual that is not part of this cannot go to McDonald's and buy a Big Mac, or cannot go to a Subway and buy a sandwich. Well, a couple of years ago, this was changed, and LA County has implemented this program where it allowed our homeless, our elderly, and our disabled to use their CalFresh benefits to buy prepared meals. We have about 1,200 participating restaurants throughout LA County that you can use your CalFresh benefits to buy those prepared meals. Now, you've probably all seen, we welcome EBT at Jack in the Box, or, but just for your information, we also administer 2 other cash programs, which is your CalWorks and your General Relief. And these folks get cash. So those benefits are also placed on that EBT card. And if they're also receiving CalFresh, those CalFresh benefits are also placed. So it's just like if you have a checking and a savings account, you have one EBT or one debit card, and you can access whatever account you want. Well, it's the same with us. You'll have one card and you have all these different benefits. So someone going into a Jack in the Box, they're probably using their cash benefits to buy those foods. They're not using their CalFresh unless that Jack in the Box is one of our authorized restaurants. And there's a seal, there's a little decal that we have in the restaurant saying this establishment is a participating restaurant meals restaurant. So that's the way they identify the restaurant. To address your other question, what do they buy? We haven't surveyed what our folks buy with their CalFresh benefits, what type of food items they buy. We've never done a study. I don't know if there's a study out there that has that information. I think it would have to be like the store do some type of study, but the department hasn't done something like that.
Well, in New York City, the mayor, you probably heard, he tried to ban the sale of soda for SNAP benefits. And a lot of people are behind this because they say soda is not food. It's very sugary, and it's causing a lot of our obesity epidemic and so on. There was one legislator in California who wanted to ban all kinds of junk food. And it would have created a logistical nightmare for all the cashiers at all the supermarkets. Because you have something like 60 million food items. And each one would have been designated, well, is this one get sold or does this one get sold? And you can just see the food companies all fighting each other saying, mine's not as junky as his. But they'll still keep making junk food, right? For Hunger Action LA, we kind of fall on the side that is kind of a stigma to, stigmatize poor people as buying soda. Soda's a problem. It's a problem for all of us, right? You don't have to be poor to see the effects of soda on people who are not necessarily poor. At the same time, I think a lot of us probably wouldn't really cry a lot if soda was one of the items that was banned. But we prefer to go at it in a positive aspect of, let's try to figure out ways of making healthy food cheaper or more accessible.
I also just want to add, I actually spoke with one of the people at the USDA about this specific issue because, being a future dietitian, we are very nutrition focused. And what he really stressed to me is that is really more addressing the hunger issue. And it was, more of a hunger epidemic that led to that being allowed at the fast food restaurants. So if you could just think more along the lines of those benefits are for people who aren't necessarily going to go or don't have access to go and, whip up a meal full of veggies and fruit. So I know that a lot of us get upset when we see that, but really just keep that population in mind. So.
Yeah, and one thing we're doing also with our restaurant meals program, when we launched this program back in 2007, we really didn't have no takers. The folks that approached us back then were all the Subways. So we do have a lot of Subways, but now with the push from USDA, FNS, we're signing up restaurants that have offered healthy choices. So that's a big push for our department too. When we're signing up a restaurant, we want to sign up a restaurant that's going to offer healthy choices and sign up a restaurant, what we call food deserts, where there is no markets, no restaurants. So that's what we're targeting right now throughout LA County is we want to, I'm going to pick on East Los Angeles. There's a lot of fast foods in that community, so we don't want to authorize or sign up restaurants that offer fast food choices. We're looking at the healthier restaurants now. And again, we are working with the Department of Public Health, with registered dietitians, for them to tell us, okay, give us some type of system where when we sign up a restaurant, this is a restaurant that offers healthy choices. Because again, we're not those type of experts.
And some of you may be interested in the work being done by community health councils in South LA. They had a fast food moratorium so that new fast food restaurants could be built within it was like a 2-mile range along either side of Central Avenue. But in addition to that, they're trying to now attract healthy places. They're trying to find places that may offer something that's a little healthier, bring them in. So they're kind of approaching it from the sort of good cop, bad cop idea as well.
Can you repeat the name of that again?
So that's Community Health Councils, and they're on Stocker Street in South LA. And so they're trying to attract more grocery stores to the food deserts. And they successfully got the city to put a moratorium on new fast food places along Central Avenue and the area around there. And they're beginning to embark on attracting healthy restaurants. They're actually looking for volunteers, and they're really one of the more underreported agencies in the whole city. They've done just such an amazing amount of things. They've done comparisons of what foods were available in West LA compared to South LA, and you saw shortages of organic and whole grain foods. Those weren't available even at the same store, like even the same routes, even the same chain. Had it in West LA and didn't have it in South LA. They said, there's as much purchasing power in South LA as there is in Beverly Hills. So there's no reason for the stores not to be located there.
Talking about restaurants made me think about a program that I heard about in Florida, where the restaurants, instead of throwing away their leftover food, are donating it to after-school programs for kids. So kids who are in the school lunch program now are getting like their breakfast, their lunch, and also a dinner before they leave the after-school program for the day. These kids are eating things like lobster and steak, and they just, maybe some of you saw this, it was a special. I don't remember if it was a Sunday morning or 60 Minutes or what, but it was a 60 Minutes? Yeah, it was great. It was a really great segment. I'm just wondering if there's been any kind of activity, to get restaurants together to donate their food, because now that we have the Good Samaritan Act, they can't be held liable anymore if somebody gets sick from eating their restaurant food. I don't know if anybody knows of anything that's going on with that, but it sounds like it would be a great project.